So, hello everybody, I'm Kevin here from Kitronik, and today I'm going to do a tech talk on one of our products, the arcade board, which you can see here. As ever, if you have any questions, Mark will be looking for those. So if you have any questions about the product or anything that I'm talking about in the video, please do let him know, and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. Okay, yeah, so I'm sure many of you may have seen this board. It's been around for a little while now, but we wanted to sort of talk about it because our aim is over a period of time to sort of highlight some of our more popular lines, and this is one of those, and give you maybe a little bit of a reminder on the product, a bit more detail about it, maybe if you haven't forgot, or if you're new to it, then I can introduce it to you for the first time. So yeah, I mean, as the name sort of describes, it's an arcade-based coding board that students can code themselves, create their own games. So they're learning coding through game creation in a way that should be fun and engaging for them. So hopefully that's something they can sort of enjoy, and it sort of makes the experience of coding an enjoyable one. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to show you a little bit on the website, show you what the product's on there, how much it costs. I'll then show you the board itself, show you some of the features, and then I'll also talk you through how the board's coded. And for people who are familiar with the microbit, you're probably used to the MakeCode environment. It's a very similar coding experience for the arcade board. Okay, yeah. So let me just pop over to our website. So we have the board, and you can see in here a few varieties of ways in which you can buy it. The simplest version is this product here, which is about £34. You can see that here. So it's £34 if you buy one, comes down if you buy a few more, and that's basically just the board in some anti-static packaging. Has everything you'd need, and it's the lowest cost option. We can sort of show you that there's quite a lot of information on here detailing the product and things like that, but I'm going to cover that a little bit later. But we do also have two different options in which you can purchase the product. We have one that we call retail packaging, and that's because we've had requests over time for people to be able to sort of sell this in shops, or maybe give something as a gift where they want the packaging, so a bit more important. But also in that version, we do include batteries and a lead for programming the board. And then we also have a class pack, and the class pack includes 10 sets, 10 programming leads, batteries for all the boards, and it comes supplied in this grapnel tray, which you can see here. I'm sure if you're an educator, you're very used to grapnel trays. They're very common for storing product, but that's a really neat and tidy way of storing boards between use. And because there's slots there for each of the boards to slide into, it's also a very good way of keeping track of have you got all the boards back in from your students at the end of a lesson. Okay, so that's sort of generally how we sell the boards. Prices vary a little bit. If you obviously the version where the packaging and the batteries and leads is a bit more than just a board on its own, and then the class pack is somewhere in between a little bit, really, because you're buying 10, you're getting a better price, but there's also the cost of the packaging, the grapnel tray storage there. But I'm sure these all they're very popular, so we believe they do offer excellent value for money. Yeah, so the boards you can see here, it's about this big. It's very comfortable to hold. You can see here that it's got the side of the front where you've got all the control elements, and on the back it's quite simple. Basically, it's where the batteries are, and we've tried to design where the batteries sit so they can make a really nice way of holding the board like you would in a normal sort of arcade style controller. So you can sort of grip these batteries really nicely there. But yeah, if I put this on the demonstration camera, I can then give you a bit more of a close-up of some of the features. Okay, so like we say, on the back we have the batteries, and that's pretty much all that's on that rear side. And then on the front we have a few things. So we've got 6 action buttons. So we've got the ones here that are arranged in like a control pad, like a D-style pad. We then have another 2 action buttons over here, which are user assignable, A and B. So these could be for, I don't know, depends what you're doing. You could have like acceleration and brake, or jump and shoot, or whatever the student decides to build into their game. We have the screen in the center. So this screen is a full color screen. It's a full color LCD screen. So it's really nice and clear and good for the students to look at. We have a sounder here. So when I demonstrate it in a minute, you'll be able to hear that the board makes a sound, so you can have sound output on your games. We have the power switch at the top, just here. And next to it, we have an indicator LED so that when the board is powered, you can tell it's powered up. There are 2 more buttons. So there's one here for doing a total reset, so reset button at the top. And then at the bottom here, we have one that's for menu. So within the MakeCode environment, you can use a menu there to sort of decide what you're doing on a few bits and pieces. And also we have the micro USB port on the side here. So when I talked about being supplied with leads, the lead we would supply with this board is a USB to micro USB lead. They're very common. And it's that lead that you use to connect it to the computer where you're developing the code to download the code into the board. So yeah, if you want to upload a new game that you've created, or you're altering the game that's on there during development, you would load it through a lead connector to the port just here. And we also have a vibration motor here for haptic feedback. So you might have a character if it ran into a wall or something, you want to give like a little jolt to the board, you can do that using this vibration motor here. And there are a few other bits and pieces you can kind of see. So the circuitry is exposed, so that's the main processor there that powers the board, and there's some other bits and pieces, components. But that's all protected by this this cover case here that you can see over the top. So the front is all nice and clean and smooth, so you're not going to worry about students touching electrical parts, and you can clean these down really easily should you wish to as well. So that's kind of a basic overview of the board itself. We do have a few more advanced connections here for people that want to access a few of the extra bits of I/O should you wish to, but I don't. That's great for advanced users, but it's not essential for the typical user you would see. Okay. The board itself from Microsoft, it's a Microsoft-based design, is targeted at around about the ages 8+. So 8+ typically up to something like a 14-year-old would be a good age bracket for this board. Obviously, you're going to need to have the games will vary in difficulty and complexity. So for a younger student, you might want to be doing something quite simple, but it does have that longevity whereby the games can get more and more complicated. The coding is done typically within MakeCode, so in blocks, but as I'll show you in a little while, there is the ability to also code in things like JavaScript for people that who want to do more textual based coding. So I'm just going to pan this board up. Hopefully I can get an angle where you can see the screen clearly. So it's just booting there. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult in here with the lights. So at the moment we've got a game loaded on. Hopefully you can hear that sound. So off we go. So this is a bit like Mario, so a little platformer. And this is one of the demonstration games that's available within MakeCode that a student can code themselves. So hopefully you can sort of see the way that looks. The screen is really nice. It's just a little bit hard to see on the camera here. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if there's any questions at the moment. I don't believe so. Okay. Yeah. So all the features on the board there, really super nice and easy to hold. Yeah, and we've seen these lots in classrooms, so they are robust. People drop them and bang them around. We've not had issues around them becoming broken. So yeah, they sort of stood the test of time already in a classroom environment. I think the thing that most people will find probably of interest though is how the boards are coded, how the products are coded. So if I go back to my web browser, and the reason I'm in my web browser is because you don't need to install any software to use the board. It's all based within the browser, exactly the same as a microbit is. So there's no installation or anything like that, or downloads or anything to get this installed. So from a usability point of view in a classroom, it should be pretty easy for most teachers. Obviously, you do need to connect it to the computer to a USB device, and that's something that you may need to get authorized, but we do find it's really easy. So what I've opened up here though is the MakeCode environment. I mean, this is quite a big game, but it's the one that I just showed you a second ago on the arcade board that I had. And the codes in this section, as you can see at the top here, is where you can flip between blocks, JavaScript, and Python if you want to code in those things. But the other good thing about this is also you get the simulation here. So you know, if you've got 30 students all developing their own games, maybe 10 boards, each of them can be testing it within their simulator, and when they're ready they can download it into their real hardware and play it. But the simulator is a fantastic way for developing and debugging as you go, without the need to actually download it onto hardware each time. And I can show you this hopefully on here, where so you can click the buttons, or you can move things around just so it reacts in the same way, or you can use your keyboard. So I'm using A and D, W and X, which is sort of quite normal controls for doing the direction. So if I can give this a quick go here, as you can see, I'm playing this game now just as you would do on the real hardware. So off you go. Yeah, let's complete the first level, onto the second level. So I think you find this simulator really is a sort of a fantastically useful thing for development. It's a really great environment, and it's developed by Microsoft. So if anyone who's familiar with MakeCode, which is the platform again that's used for things like the microbit, then yeah, you probably find your students can move to this really easily. It has obviously, unlike the microbit, which is blocks that are specific to the microbit itself and the pins and the sounders and things it has on it. On here we have blocks that are specific to creation of games. So we have ones that relate to sprite, so that character that's moving along there, what that character looks like, things like that. Controllers, game, yeah, all different kinds of things. I won't go through them all now because there's quite a few, but yeah, they're really familiar, I think, for a lot of students who've grown up with a microbit, or they've used Scratch. This drag and drop coding should be very familiar. So yeah, this is an example I've got here, but when you want to launch MakeCode, you would use this screen. So in here I could go away and create a new project, give a project a name, with my caps lock on, and at that point I would get a blank one to go away and code. And then when I want to download into my hardware, I go through, you know, I choose hardware. So if I plug it in, it would appear, I would pair it, and then every time it's there I just press download and the software's downloaded into my MakeCode board hardware. Oh, let's go back to that. Got caps lock stuck on. So you can see I've just searched for MakeCode Arcade and it comes straight up here. The reason I want to sort of show you this is because there's also an incredible amount of resources available for any teachers or students or home users that are wanting to get started with the board, and they're all included here at the point of launch. So we've got beginners skill maps, next level skill maps, so you can work through these, tutorials, there's some examples of some multiplayer games we have here. So again, some live coding lessons that you can watch back and follow. These are some example games. So this is the one I was just running a second ago, the jumpy platformer, but there's a falling duck, which is a version of Flappy Duck, and some sort of kind of probably games you may have seen in the past. They've been created on here. We have JavaScript games, so for people that are looking to code in JavaScript rather than using blocks, there's some examples here for you. Yeah, you can see there's a huge amount of resources, and I think this is what's really exciting about this board, is actually the amount of content that's been generated to support either you as a teacher or you as a student in using the board. And even, we can go further down. So we've got like concepts in graphics and maths, yeah, all these different things you see here. And there's also some lessons that you can work through here and some courses that relate to specific things. So yeah, yeah, huge amount of resources there to aid you in the use of the board within a classroom or as a home user. And yeah, some great stuff on here really. John Park's workshops, things like that. The other thing is this board was used in the Hour of Code by Microsoft in 2021, and again, this is a website you can go to, and on here there's an awful lot more of supporting resources available for learning. So like I said, you don't need to download any of it, you just need a bit of hardware, and then you can work your way through these different skill maps and resources here. So again, super easy for use for teaching with this board. So I kind of feel I've possibly gone through that maybe a little bit fast, but it's a product we've had for a while, and I just kind of wanted to give you another overview of it. I was just trying to see if there's any more questions or anything that anyone's had at the moment. It doesn't appear to be the case. No, it doesn't look like that. But yeah, I mean, all in, it's an incredibly popular board. Really fun, and I mean, I've used it with my children, and you know, they've enjoyed playing on it, and they've also enjoyed creating things on it, or even taking games that you know, are already there, maybe altering them to make it different or more applicable to themselves. So you know, you might want to change just something simple, start off by changing the way a sprite looks. And the game could be the same, but the sprite could look totally different. Maybe they could style it on themselves and things like that. And it's just a fun way of getting students and children into coding. Yeah, so yeah, it's a really popular board. I say it's based on supported by a design by Microsoft, so perfectly fits within this MakeCode environment. Just yeah, people who probably haven't seen maybe MakeCode before, it's just quickly show you. Yeah, going back here, so this is, say, MakeCode by Microsoft, and it can be used in lots of things. So Arcade's the one we've just shown you here. People will be familiar with this if they've used a microbit before, but you can also use MakeCode with things like Minecraft. So yeah, it's becoming a very popular tool. So, and you know, if you learnt it with microbit, move into this MakeCode Arcade board should be quite simple. If you've used it with MakeCode Arcade and then you go on to use a microbit later, again, I think you'll find that transition really simple. And it supports a whole load of different things like here, Lego Mindstorms, the keyboard, a variety of different things. So it's becoming a really popular platform, and one I think most people will be familiar with, or if they're not, they'll find it easy to pick up. So there shouldn't be any sort of scariness around sort of using it from a coding point of view. Okay, right. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up there. We're gonna carry on with these tech talks at least once a month around some different pieces of hardware. We'll either be showing you new things, or we'll be going back like today and revisiting some products that we've had around for a while. But ones that are of interest, or you know, we find popular, and some people maybe haven't seen them before, give me an opportunity to demonstrate them to you. Okay, well, thanks for your time today, and hopefully we'll see you all again in the future. Okay, take care.